Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Trendz Travel. I am your host, Nadia Dambuza. Today I'm coming to you from the beautiful Agro Gallery in Maboneng, Johannesburg. In our first segment, we go to Vilakazi Street in Soweto for some coffee. We have that and so much more, so stay tuned.
Coming up next on Trendz Travel this week, we explore all things coffee. We visit the Swiss Alps for beautiful balloons. We look at the beautiful and bright Lunar New Year. And finally, vinyl love in Kenya. All this and so much more on Trendz Travel this week. In the mystical mountains of Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania grows a bean that is loved by most around the world. Coffee has captured the palates and imaginations of cultures and societies on all corners of the globe. Kaldi was an Ethiopian goat herder from Kafar who is said to have discovered coffee after he noticed his goats dancing, unable to sleep at night and acting strange after they had eaten red berries from a certain tree. The Guinness coffea is native to tropical Africa, Madagascar, the Comoros, Mauritius, and Reunion in the Indian Ocean. The plant was exported from Africa to countries around the world, and coffee plants are now cultivated in over 70 countries, primarily in the equatorial regions of the Americas, Southeast Asia, India, and still Africa. Coffee is a brewed drink prepared from roasted coffee beans, which are the seeds of berries from the coffea plant. Once ripe, coffee berries are picked, processed, and dried. Dried coffee seeds are roasted to varying degrees depending on the desired flavor. The drink has weaved its way into many Arabic and African cultures and is ceremonial and mystical in its serving and preparation. In South Africa, however, the culture has taken on a more Americanized style of preparation and service.
We are in very famous Vilakazi Street yet again as Trendz Travel, but this time to explore a new concept to Soweto, coffee culture.
Coffee is the first coffee bar dedicated to this inspired drink. A perfect space for not just drinking the brew, but for conducting business and meeting up with friends.
Been in the industry for a few years, and it has been an interesting industry. I mean, there's many opportunities that are made there. It hasn't been something that as Black South Africans are looking into. I mean, coffee is an African product, but we hardly engage with it much. So it has been in the pipeline for a few years. How I came across coffee was on my travels. So I used to live a few years overseas, and then I came across Starbucks and I learned from them. So I used to work for them as well. And then when I was returning home, my plan was to open my own. And then that's 2011. So push back a few years later, 2014, I started working on the idea for real. And I met my business partner, Lawrence, and we started talking about it. And ever since, it's been one learning curve to another, up to a date of, I think, April 2016, when we opened the shop finally. There's two responses. I mean, the first response is people getting to know about, the product, coffee. People are getting to understand what we're doing, and learning from that. People are coming in droves. Our coffee is selected from Ethiopia and Tanzania. We roast, and it's our roast profile, so it's not a widely done product mix. We did that for ourselves. So that is our own roast. You wanted to engage people's sense of humor sometimes, and then you just want them to look at something and then remember it. So we chose some of the names for its remembrance factor. So people can actually remember, oh, there's a yellow bone in there, there's a Kiwi Zulu, there's Hambobu, you know. Those are particular drinks that will give somebody something to remember as by. So if somebody says it, you know, innovatively say, I'm a yellow bones or say coffee Nandi, it's two-way. You can look at it, you can have a fun part of it and say, oh, what? And then they'll explain to know, we mean the strengths and stuff like that, yeah.
Nizram Farid belts out his favorite jams. Mostly, he's the life and soul of the party here at Le Chalet restaurant located in Moroni, Comoros' capital.
We have live band here on Friday night and Saturday night. Most of it's reggae music and mixed with some rock and roll music when people start dancing, etc.
He is the lead singer of his band, accompanied by guitarist, pianist, and backup vocalists. With the electrifying sounds, the audience can always count on them to get their groove on.
If there's good music, there's fun. We dance, we sing together, we laugh together. We just pass good time together. This is what matters. It's fun, I think.
Le Chalet is one of the few party hangouts in Moroni. Before ravelers start their night, Caltech Street is a must pass by for those wanting to fill their bellies. Vendors prepare a variety of mouth-watering delicacies.
We start selling at 8 p.m. and we can go up to 2 or 3 a.m. The prices for fish, chicken at 500 and for skewers, it's 700 Comorian francs.
500 Comorian francs are about $1.50.
If you're in local restaurants and places like the street food, it's cheaper. So it depends, it's up to you. If you want cheaper one, you can have. If you want place like Barnamaj, which is not really expensive.
It was also in Nizram's agenda to have meals offered at Le Chalet to add variety to the island's culinary options.
Life has changed here in Moroni, for example. People are coming out more often than before, for example.
On the menu is also a chance to freestyle and do karaoke. And you don't have to have an angelic voice to get the mic. Often reggae tunes set the ambience of this hidden hangout.
Reggae, it's universal. It's like Coca-Cola. It's everywhere. You see what I mean? Mostly you find it in the islands. You see, when we are here, coconut trees, the beach, etc. It goes with it. And most of my inspiration came, of course, from Bob Marley and not only reggae music, but all kind of music, acoustic music, Swahili music, Comorian music, East African music.
Other clubs in Moroni are popular with DJ mixes, mostly hip-hop, R&B and soul. Iba is located in Itsandra, an affluent neighborhood still in Moroni. The joint is considered more uptown and often not so packed.
I love coming to Iba because I love having fun, to meet friends and all that. I love to go to Rose Noire because the ambience there is good. Here, at least, it's more classy, and it's where I bond with friends, dance to some music, then I proceed to Rose Noire.
Rosnoa is a few yards away with a younger, hyper crowd. None of these places charge an entrance fee. So if the night finds you in Moroni, I bet you'll be spoiled for choice on where to spend your Friday or Saturday evening.
We have so much more for you just after the break, so stay with us. In its 39th year, the Hot Air Balloon Festival in Switzerland was nothing short of spectacular. We take a look at that and a beautiful flower show in India. Enjoy. The annual Hot Air Balloon Festival kicked off on Saturday, the 21st of January, in the Swiss city of Châteaudet for its 39th edition, bringing together more than 70 pilots from 15 different countries.
Alors on a un paysage qui est magnifique, de la neige, du soleil, et puis c'est vrai que chaque année on peint une fresque éphémère dans le ciel grâce à ces ballons, et je pense que c'est une des recettes qui fait que ça marche aussi bien.
Between 20,000 and 40,000 people were expected to attend over the 2 weekends.
Well, Châteaudet is now in its 39th year and it's very, very famous for ballooning. And so it's the #1 place to come to in the winter. You know, and what better way of spending the week of flying in the snow and the mountains? It's absolutely stunning.
The festival was created in 1979 and features hot air balloons in special shapes, air displays, a night show and other activities for the family. Châteaudet and hot air balloons have been connected for many years. In 1999, Bertrand Piccard and Brian Jones left the Swiss town with their Breitling orbiter to do the first tour of the world in a hot air balloon.
Well, balloon is something very fascinating because you just go with the wind. You can't steer it, but you can steer it when you change the altitude. You can go to other wind directions, and so you can a little bit steer the balloon. And that's very an interesting thing. Like soaring, they just go with the wind.
At this cafe in East Taiwan, chicken is on the menu and also part of the decor, with chirpy chicks running around the customers as they eat and drink. The K-Show Cafe has been in business in Hualien since 2013, serving beverages and light Western-style meals, but it wasn't until a year later when the chickens started showing up.
一开始主要没有养小鸡，是后来才养的。那因为之前呢有遇到一个台北来的客人，他们说要去台东住宿，后来中餐在我们这边用餐，然后他们在山路上说捡到了3只小鸡，他们觉得带去台东比较麻烦，希望能够借宿1晚。那我们就让他的小鸡在那边过1晚之后，他说他隔天会来拿，可是他就没再回来了。那我们就一直养着小鸡了，对吧
？The first batch of chicks settled down on the patch of grass near the windows that was already part of the cafe interior. When they grow too big and start straying off the grass and onto the tables, Shu exchanges them. The cafe usually has 4 chicks in residence.
有啊，就今年是鸡年嘛，那所以来这边其实就是有鸡这样子陪伴我们，就是还蛮有新年的感觉。
Chiu says he trades his flock for newly hatched chicks from a local farm every 3 weeks. With the year of the rooster, according to the Chinese zodiac calendar, approaching, customers are especially happy to see the chicks running around as they provide a festive mood. People in large numbers thronged the Republic Day flower show in India's southern Bengaluru city on Saturday, January 21st. The visitors were seen marveling at the star attraction, the floral replica of Mausoleum Gol Gumbaz that has been created with approximately 400,000 roses at the Lal Bagh Glass House. Organized by Department of Horticulture and Mysore Horticulture Society, the flower show displayed a variety of flowers grown in winter season, especially Cymbidium flowers, begonia, fuchsia, roses, dahlias and other plants.
So it's very good to see so many flowers, and I'm very busy clicking selfies and all. So it's a beautiful place, mixture of flowers, leaves and all. So this entire building is made up of roses and it's very beautiful. So it's very good that to see so many flowers at one place.
The Lal Bagh Botanical Gardens has displayed 250 Cymbidium flowers grown in northeastern Sikkim and eastern Darjeeling towns for the first time. The species originally belonged to the Netherlands and Australia. The visitors also praised the gigantic replicas of butterflies made from flowers using roses, orchids, chrysanthemum and carnations.
I find here that it is being done in a more systematic way, and the way it is being presented, it's in a very nice manner. So I find it to be more better than the other flower shows that I have seen.
The 10-day-long unique exhibition, which began on January 21st, ended on January 29th. Every year, flower shows are organized twice a year, in January and August, to spread awareness about different varieties of flowers and encourage people to conserve and cultivate plants. The Sotheby's auction house in Paris showcased rare comic strips to be sold to the public. Among the 61 lots exhibited at Sotheby's showroom in central Paris were 4 original drawings by the founding authors of European comic books, 3 Belgians and a Frenchman. One is an original Blake and Mortimer strip by Edgar Pierre Jacobs, valued between 70,000 and 80,000 euros. An original cover from the coloring book The Painter's Palette by Herzey, valued from 120,000 and 150,000 euros.
Le carré magique de cette vente est constitué par 4 auteurs fondateurs de la bande dessinée européenne. On a 3 Belges, Edgar Pierre Jacobs, le créateur de Blake et Mortimer, Hergé, le créateur de Tintin, et Franquin, le créateur de Gaston Lagaffe, mais qui ici est présent avec une très belle planche de Spirou et Fantasio, Spirou et les petits formats. Et enfin, le lot phare, c'est une pièce issue d'un album Le Devin, qui est un de tout bel album d'Astérix, dessiné par Albert Uderzo et scénarisé par le génial Goscinny.
The fourth main piece of the exhibition is a comic strip by French comic author Albert Uderzo from the 1970s, valued from 140,000 to 180 euros.
La planche d'Albert Uderzo est estimée de 140 000 euros à 180 000 euros. C'est une estimation tout à fait réaliste par rapport au score qu'Astérix, Uderzo et Goscinny ont pu réaliser en vente aux enchères. Et à notre sens, c'est sans doute une des 3 plus belles planches d'Uderzo mises sur le marché depuis une dizaine d'années.
According to comic book expert for Sotheby's, the rarity of the strip has driven the price.
Le plaisir en créant une vente de ce type-là, c'est de faire une espèce de revisite de la bande dessinée mondiale, donc de traverser différentes zones géographiques, mais également différents espaces temporels. Donc on a des planches qui datent du début de la bande dessinée, donc début du XXe siècle, 1900 et quelques, et puis les planches plus récentes qui ont été réalisées il y a 3 ou 4 ans.
The auction featured comic books from around the world from various time periods, including strips from Flash Gordon by Alex Raymond or Tarzan by Bern Hogarth, 2 legends of American comics. In May 2016, an original plate of Blake and Mortimer was sold in a Sotheby's auction at a price of 105,000 euros. After the break, we'll take a look at Chinese New Year celebrations. Out with the old and in with the new. The Chinese from all across the world ushered in the Year of the Rooster with some bright lights and colorful decorations. Let's take a look at the Lunar New Year celebrations.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
London's annual Magical Lantern Festival has again transformed the historic gardens of Chiswick House to celebrate the Lunar New Year. This year, the Silk Road was the theme of the festival, which opened on January the 18th. The normally tranquil neoclassical gardens now boast 60,000 light bulbs in 1,500 traditional Chinese lantern installations, replicating a journey along the ancient Silk Road, past ancient Rome's Colosseum, the Egyptian pyramids, and a 15-meter sculpture of London's Houses of Parliament.
So the Silk Road is a link between China and the Western countries for 1,000 years already, and now it's also the Silk Road is reviving. So that's this very Magical Lantern Festival Silk Road is a representative of the revival of the Silk Road. So you can find loads of famous stories, landmarks along the Silk Road. For example, start from modern London across Europe, Middle East, Central Asia, back to ancient China, which behind me, this big piece of Tang Dynasty we call the Palace of Tang Dynasty.
For 2,000 years, people in China have been making delicate silk lanterns, symbolizing new beginnings, letting go of old grudges and good fortune. The 29-day-long festival of light and color includes a combination of both traditional lanterns and the latest technology, including virtual reality. Local Londoners loved the stately garden's transformation.
Because this is my second year here. Last year it was about Disney and this year it's the Silk Route, and I just think it's absolutely glorious and it's a fabulous space to do such an amazing thing.
Chiswick House boasts one of the UK's earliest examples of the English landscape garden movement.
It's unique in its own way. It's nothing we've ever seen around here before. It's like travelling the world without leaving London.
Absolutely fantastic, so vibrant, so nice, so gorgeous, and really nice to bring more people into the area.
London's official Lunar New Year celebrations take place in Trafalgar Square on January the 29th, when tens of thousands of people are expected to fill the iconic landmark. Roadside stalls selling red and gold decorations as well as auspicious plants were seeing brisk business in the Cambodian capital as people of Chinese descent did their last-minute shopping ahead of the Lunar New Year. The Year of the Rooster starts on January the 28th. Most popular were auspicious plants with yellow flowers which represent good business. People buy them so that their businesses will grow like the flowers. In Cambodia, the Lunar New Year holiday starts officially on the eve on Friday, January the 27th.
បើតាមហុងស៊ុយបោះចិនឆ្នាំមាន់គឺជាឆ្នាំល្អឆ្នាំនេះហើយតាមមួយឆ្នាំមាន់ភាគច្រើនវាអត់សូវជាឆុងបើតាមក្បួនចិនតាមចិនខ្សែគាត់មួយចំនួនគឺឆុងមួយចំនួនគឺឆ្នាំតែមួយចំនួនទេហើយភាគច្រើនជាន់ឆ្នាំគឺឆ្នាំមាន់ដូចគ្នាតែម្ដងអញ្ចឹងណាតែបើឆ្នាំដទៃទៀតគឺល្អ តាមខ្ញុំវិញបើថាមួយឆ្នាំមានតែ3 4ថ្ងៃជើងសែនហ្នឹងវាទិញផ្កាទៅវារីកវារស់ស៊ីតាមផ្កាទៅបើតាមជំនាញខ្ញុំយល់តែអញ្ចឹង
Dragon and lion dances were performed in front of buildings of Chinese Cambodian businesses to drive away the evils from the past year. There are no new exact numbers, but studies estimate around 700,000 ethnic Chinese currently live in Cambodia. The number is sharply higher than during the 1960s and 70s, when Chinese Cambodians numbered around 425,000, according to the Association of Khmer Chinese in Cambodia. A combination of the Khmer Rouge ruler conflict and economic stagnation and immigration shrank the community, which once owned businesses and engaged in the food processing industry. Cambodians who are not of Chinese descent celebrate the Khmer New Year, which is in the middle of April. A rooster made out of over 200,000 Lego pieces will be the highlight of Hong Kong's Lunar New Year parade this year. Hong Kong Tourism Board said it commissioned the territory's only certified Lego professional builder, Andy Hung, to create the 2-meter tall statue.
其實因為我覺得咧，如果係能夠用到呢個LEGO 嘅零件咧，去做出一啲係大家好有共鳴感啦，冇東方色彩嘅東西咧，係會令到啲觀眾咧係更加多啲共鳴感啦，同埋會覺得LEGO 呢個創作係非常之 amazing。
The float was unveiled to the media ahead of the parade on Saturday. Hong Kong Tourism Board marketing manager Tina Chow said they chose to use Legos because they represented family.
The Chinese New Year is about having the family coming together. So it's important that when we think about doing this float, we have an element about having the family to enjoy the whole things together. So that's why we think of Lego and want to invite them to produce this float.
According to their website, Lego Certified Professionals, LPCs, is a community-based program made up of adult Lego hobbyists who have turned their passion for building and creating with Lego bricks into a full-time or part-time profession. LPCs are not Lego employees, but they are officially recognized by the Lego Group as trusted business partners. Hung is a full-time artist who works exclusively with Lego bricks at his studies in Hong Kong and Beijing, China. The young and old in Taiwan are celebrating the centuries-old tradition of Lunar New Year scrolls by hand, despite the vast availability of cheap printed scrolls. New Year scrolls are traditionally pasted on apartment and office doors, believed to keep out evil spirits and invite luck and fortune for the coming year. Every year for the past 11 years, hundreds of calligraphy enthusiasts flock to the city of Taoyuan in the north of Taiwan to test their writing skills in a big scroll writing competition.
这个现在的人对春联比较不注重，以前的人家中通通这样子比较祥气，哦，就有这个过年的气息。
因为它可以写很大字，要不然就是其他在小账的时候就只能写小字那种，所以可以放很明显。
The yearly competition is organized by the Taoyuan City Government's Ministry of Culture and aims to promote scroll writing as an integral part of Lunar New Year traditions and Chinese culture. According to Yu Qiuxing, a curator at Taiwan's National Palace Museum, pasting auspicious scrolls on gates and doors date back to the Eastern Han Dynasty in China.
就是整个台湾 或是日本、韩国都受西洋影响太深了，对于春节的重视度远远改变了，所以春联就没有那么普及。那另外一方面，因为印刷太方便了，你如果在坊间去问，用手写的春联，至少就是100块以上，那你印刷的20块，那印的又亮亮的，又是塑胶的，贴1年也不会坏，那有些人就想这不就好了。
Despite this, some in Taiwan say they miss the traditions they grew up with. Participants from all parts of the country sit down to write auspicious slogans on red scroll paper. The slogans are assigned to them by the organizers to keep the competition fair. Chen Ying, who works on photos as a retouching artist, decided to take part in a scroll writing workshop this year and brushed up on her calligraphy skills.
应该说教育上就是对这一方面的课程就比较不注重，然后之后就也没有机会再就是拿起毛笔写字，对，然后可是今天会来这里，就是因为突然觉得有点怀念，对，然后近期也就是意识到应该要就是再了解一点自己的文化。
Lunar New Year festivities started on Friday, January the 27th, the eve of the Year of the Rooster.
After the break, we go to Kenya for some golden oldies. Stay tuned. For the love of good music, Jimmy Rugami has been collecting vinyl since 1989. Let's take a look at this impressive collection.
In the 80s, James Ragami was the DJ who played an eclectic mix of music spanning local benga and Swahili pop to Congolese dance and Afro-Cuban classics with the touch of Lionel Richie. Jimmy, now in his 60s, doesn't play the disco scene anymore, but since 1989 he has amassed a vinyl record collection that he would be the envy of any music enthusiast. He now spends his days here surrounded by rows and columns of old records bought or traded for far-flung locations across Africa.
I couldn't stop collecting records. For some reason, I was always perturbed by piracy, and I always hated anything that is not original. As you know, vinyl is the most original way of playing music. So I kept on buying and buying everywhere. Every time I found records, I couldn't resist the urge of buying.
Nairobi used to be the East Africa's entertainment hotspot. International record labels such as Polygram and EMI signed bands from Kenya, Tanzania and the former Zaire, such as Orchestra Virunga, Daudi Kabaka and Simba Wanyika. State-of-the-art record studios and vinyl press located on the outskirts of Nairobi released diverse genres of music, the most characteristic pop sound being benga from western Kenya and the Congolese rumba sound of the 70s known as soukous. But most of the major record labels closed shop as Kenya's economy struggled in the 90s.
As you can see today, all music shops are kind of closed. It's because of technology which we can't fight. Because you guys only download music from the internet and you don't buy anymore.
Jimmy can go a whole week with just one customer, but he says he doesn't really care about the money.
Natumiaga hii record ya zamani ya Sony. Ndio. Na napenda sana kutumia hizi santuri za zamani. Yes. Maana nasipenda sana. Najienjoy mambo ya zamani. Yes.
Jimmy says he's excited by a rekindling of love of old music and sound, especially among the youth.
I have been labored insane by lots of folks because of sticking to vinyl. Some even come back much later and tell me, oh, I think whatever you're doing is cool. The same people who could say, what's wrong with this man? What's this? Is keeping crap and we're going ahead. Well, I'm also in digital, so I'm relevant.
Jimmy's stall number 570 is hidden away in a popular meat market where only those that are looking will find him. He also restores and sells vintage record players. Fans of vinyl say it offers a richer sound than its digital successors, despite the occasional crackers caused by scratches or dust on the records. Dressed in black traditional robes and a variety of regalia, thousands gathered in Ghana's second city, Kumasi, to pay their respects and celebrate the life of the Ashanti Kingdom's longest-serving Queen Mother. The Queen Mother, who died at the age of 111 in November last year, was the mother of the Asantehene, King of Ashanti, an ancient empire that has reigned in Ghana over 300 years. Her son, the King Osei Tutu II, is the absolute monarch of the kingdom and leader of the Ashanti people. The Queen Mother's funeral was no doubt the country's biggest in years. It went on for 4 days. Funerals are at the heart of Ghana's political and social culture. Former President John Dramani Mahama was among many senior government figures that attended the funeral.
Because of the attributes she possesses, the kingdom has actually lost a gem. We hope the Almighty God will give her a peaceful resting place. But our hope is that by divine grace, we shall find a suitable substitute who have the attributes of the past lady. That's our wish.
Ashanti are among Africa's most advanced civilizations. The community had a defined governance system and a respected constitution before British colonization in 1874. While the culture of many African communities slowly fades due to modern influences, one of the key roles of the Ashanti leadership is to preserve the cultural heritage of the kingdom.
The historical influence of the kingdom puts it in the right perspective that, yes, they occupied about half the size of the present Ghana, so that cannot be taken away. And then it's also a kingdom that has preserved the culture of Ghana as well as Africa, because there are very few African countries that have been able to preserve their culture.
Ghana was hailed as a shining example of democracy after elections last year, in which President Nana Akufo-Addo defeated John Mahama in a rare peaceful transfer of power in a region plagued by political crisis. The Ashanti King's influence exists alongside the country's modern democracy. Kumasi is the capital and seat of power for the kingdom. It also holds some of the country's largest gold deposits. But like the rest of Ghana, it has suffered through a period of economic instability that Akufo-Addo has promised to reverse.
The reality on the ground was that there was a real hardship on us. But I don't know, the previous government couldn't detect that or not. So we are expecting the Nana government to make sure that there is a massive change.
The Asantehene is expected to announce Queen Mother's successor from a long list of relatives.
Egypt will restore hundreds of coffins dating back thousands of years to the time of the pharaohs as part of a joint American-Egyptian project to document and preserve one of the world's oldest civilizations. The conservation effort, funded by the United States grant, will restore over 600 wooden coffins.
المشروع مركز على التوابيت الخشبية، توثيق التوابيت الخشبية، توثيق وترميم التوابيت الخشبية المخزنة داخل قدرون المتحف المصري وفي أحد المخازن في الدور الثالث. عدد التوابيت الخشبية المستهدفة للترميم والتوثيق ما يزيد عن حوالي 600 تابوت. 450 تقريبا موجودين في قدرون المتحف المصري وحوالي 180 موجودين في مخزن الدور الثالث. ما فيش أي مشروع تم من قبل على مستوى العالم بهذا الحجم بكمية التوابيت سواء عمليات التوثيق أو عمليات الترميم.
Egypt was awarded the conservation grant worth $130,000 in December 2015. That project is part of the larger US-Egypt treaty signed in 2016 to curtail illicit trafficking of the country's rich cultural heritage.
And one of the main goals of the project is to ensure that the museum has a full inventory of the objects and understands their conservation needs so that the coffins can be made available for research by scholars, but also for the public. And we're excited about that because it means that in the long run, more people here in Egypt and people from around the world will have the opportunity to discover and to appreciate the full range of heritage and of history within this single collection of coffins.
The fund previously helped Egypt to conserve the mausoleum in historic Cairo and an ancient temple in Upper Egypt. The project is expected to take 2 years.
And that's all we have for you on today's show. Join us again next week, same time, same place. From the tireless Trendz travel team, see you next time.